Alrighty, guys. Seeing as the Skate for Skate content has been drying up and the game is now dead, why don't we keep the game alive of skateboarding games, and let's watch this retrospective of Thrasher Skate and Destroy. I actually had this Thrasher Skate and Destroy game on PlayStation 1. I guess came out in 1999. I feel like I would have got it a few years later, but still, I had this on PlayStation 1 and I remember playing this. It was actually kind of fun, but let's see what the retrospective is saying about this. I mean, let's be real, Tony Hawk's was better, but it was still fun.
By late
for what it
1999, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, or
Australian?
Tony Hawk's Skateboarding, depending on where you lived, redefined the skateboarding genre and kicked off a long-lasting franchise.
Rockstar made another
but
skate
around
game,
the
that would
same
be crazy.
time, another skateboarding
GTA
game
DLC.
had dropped. Foregoing the arcade-like controls of Tony Hawk, this game from a small studio called Z-Axis...
I remember putting in this disc. I wonder if I have the disc. Where is my PS1? I think it's at my dad's house. I don't think I saw it. Oh my god. I'll probably have my... Oh shit. I probably have my fucking memory cards with my save games. I'm pretty sure... Where's my fucking Xbox? I gave away my Xbox 360 to a skate school. But like... I think my dad maybe has the PS1 and Xbox. Fuck, I should get it and get my save game.
Simulation-based approach with a steep learning curve and some excellent ideas. That game was
that a front crook?
Based approach with a steep learning curve and some excellent ideas.
This is the thing, guys. The fucking crooked grind lore burns so fucking deep. This is the intro of the game, and we get this like non-front crook. Front crook down Hubba Hideout in the Thrasher certified game. Where's the blowback here, guys? Look at this fucking willy grind. What the hell? That's so funny.
Learning curve and some excellent ideas. That game was Thrasher Presents
Definitely not
Skate and
pinched.
Destroy. My name is Onehip,
Oh,
and thanks
the
for clicking
graphics.
on this video. Many of you have asked for a
worries.
retrospective on this often forgotten game since I started covering the Tony Hawk series, and I'm happy that it all worked out as we go through
Old indie
Rockstar's
logo.
earlier catalogue, finally landing on this one. Was Skate and
Before
Destroy a
people were
brilliant
not
sim
pinching?
overshadowed by its flashier
No one
rival,
complained, huh?
or did it bail on its first run and end up in the Hall of Meat? This is
Boom.
Thrasher Presents Skate and Destroy. Let's go.
I've played this on stream before. The game, it was very hard to do the flip tricks, but I remember you could like get hit by the train and it had ragdoll physics, was kind of fun. And if you ran out of time, someone would come and like tase you at the end, and you could like run away while they're like actively trying to chase you.
Thrasher
I remember that being
magazine,
super
the
fun.
premier skateboarding publication, released its first issue in January 1981, and the magazine is still in circulation, albeit mostly in online form. Famous segments include Skater of the Year, awarded since 1990 to many skateboarding legends, including Tony Hawk, John Cardiel, Chris Cole, and Danny Way, as well as Burnout, Double Rock, Skate Line, and Hall of
What?
Meat, the latter featuring video segments of skaters injuring themselves when attempting a trick. By the late 90s, skateboarding was experiencing a cultural revival, with a shift...
This is the thing. This is how I personally feel about the
By the
style
late
of skateboarding, right? This is a sick line.
90s, skateboarding
But
was
it would look better if
experiencing
you
a
just
cultural
didn't push
revival,
Switchmonger
with a
there.
shift toward,
It
by
would
the
have looked
late
way
90s,
better.
Skateboarding was experiencing a cultural
Is that
revival,
Costin?
with a trick. By the late 90s,
I personally
skateboarding was
think it would have looked better if you
experiencing
didn't push
a cultural
Switchmonger.
revival, with a shift towards street skating. This was coupled with the rise of hip-hop and punk influences on style and music, as well as a rebellious
That was pinched.
DIY ethos that surrounded the subculture. And video games were starting to
Switchmonger.
reflect that. In order to leverage its brand influence within skate culture, Thrasher partnered with Rockstar and developer Z-Axis to sponsor their upcoming skateboarding game. Years later, Thrasher would appear again in the Skate series, with its infamous Hall of Meat mode featured in the first 4 games. Yes, this includes Skate It. Unlike other skateboarding games that leaned more towards arcade style.
Look, you had a courthouse level too. Isn't that funny that I played this level as a kid? It even still has these poles. Like, this is relatively true to the real courthouse.
tricks or racing hybrids, Skate and Destroy aimed for authenticity. It was the first skateboarding simulator, with a steep learning curve driven by unconventional controls and grounded physics. I'll touch on these throughout the video. Thrasher Presents Skate and Destroy was released on PlayStation in September 1999 across Europe and North America, and in March 2000 in Japan under the name Thrasher Skate. It received above-average reviews, with praise given to its technical mechanics, old-school hip-hop soundtrack, and inclusion of ragdoll physics, which was almost unheard of in a game at that time.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said earlier. This guy, like, usually these guys, I'm pretty sure this guy's Australian, they really like the culture of skateboarding games, but they're usually not like diehard skaters.
Graphics and less pick-up-and-play nature compared to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. While Tony Hawk was more accessible to casual players, Skate and Destroy captured the rawness of skate culture. You pick one of 6 skaters, each...
I remember these stupid skaters. I would always pick Scab, because I was like, what the fuck kind of a name is Scab? But I feel like Cyrus had the best, like, animation.
With unique stats, and travel across the US and Europe to become a pro skater and land on the cover of Thrasher magazine. The gameplay can feel awkward at first, especially if your first skate game was a Tony Hawk one, but once you get the hang of it, it's genuinely rewarding. For my playthrough, I picked Cyrus as my skater, as he had the most balanced stats, which helps first-time players like myself.
I always thought I played this game, but I actually played Grind Session. I don't think I ever played Grind Session. I played this I'm trying to get back into my mind. Because I think what would happen, allegedly, of course, is me, my dad, and my brother would go to the market, and then if you had a chipped PlayStation 1, it was called chipping it, which meant jailbreaking it, kind of. You had to get someone to jailbreak it for you, and then you could buy the pirated games, allegedly, of course. And then I remember, allegedly, maybe me and my brothers would go there and then buy 50 games, So then we have so many more games. But I feel like I do remember having this one in particular as a real disc. Where would I even buy the real games though? I actually don't even... Nah, maybe it was pirated. I can't remember. Because the pirated, sometimes they would print out the cover as well. So it would look kind of like it was really real.
He changed his name.
I don't know though. Where would you even buy them from? EB?
Unlike any other
I think this was...
game you might
I was too young for that.
Flip tricks use triangle, spins and grabs are on circle, ollies on square, and pushing and grinding on X. You can perform rotational tricks, like a 360 kickflip or 180 indie grab, by holding triangle and circle together, or by just holding circle and a directional button, respectively. Holding L1 with square lets you do nollies, and holding it while flipping lets you do nollie tricks, while R1 handles backside variants. L2 and R2 let you roll your body mid-air or on rails, or trigger a bail manually, which never stops being hilarious.
Yeah,
unlike
the ragdoll was
skate
good.
Games, you don't need to ollie before every trick. Pressing the button alone is enough. You can adjust your center of gravity with the D-pad. And yes, landing from too big of a drop will slam you straight into the pavement.
Look, and you had an early Hall of Meat score as well.
Time. Tricks like wall rides and manuals require 3-button combinations. And while I found wall rides to be straightforward,
rented a
manuals were tough
Blockbuster, that's
to pull
so
off
sick.
Consistently. You unlock more tricks, including lip tricks like hand plants, as you progress through the campaign. The controls took a bit for me to get used to, and I was quite frustrated at first, but once I figured it out, pulling off combos was incredibly satisfying.
I wonder if Thrasher were ever jaded towards Tony Hawk, that Tony Hawk's game took off and their game didn't. I never really thought about that. I wonder who at Thrasher was involved in this, or maybe it was just the game developers came to them, hey, you're legitimate in skateboarding, we need you to sign off on this, and they go, okay, whatever. I guess it was probably more likely like that.
You'll have fun with the game, despite its jank in parts. I found street skating tricks like grinds and flips to be very forgiving, and you're able to snap onto grindable assets quite easily. And flips don't require mid-air adjustments to land too often. Vert and grab tricks are more difficult to pull off, especially as spins and grabs share the same button. But it wasn't a big deal, as I stuck to doing mostly grinds and flips. You can receive bonus points by leaping over or transferring to certain obstacles and levels. These aren't called gaps in the game, but they pretty much are. As well as for big air, pulling tricks in risky situations such as on an angle or over water, and chaining numerous tricks together. You can also receive bonus points for sick or wicked high score.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was...
Unlike Tony Hawk...
Tony Hawk's was always kind of like cartoonish, like embellished arcadey or whatever, whereas I guess this was kind of more like simulator vibes. But I feel like not necessarily by design, because it was just so fucking hard to do anything. Like in Tony Hawk, it's easy to do a kickflip. It's easy to spin like 720, right? Whereas in this game, just doing the basic shit is so fucking hard.
Thrasher has no objectives beyond hitting a target score within a 2-minute timer. Interestingly,
where's the security?
The timer doesn't start until you trigger it, letting you practice freely beforehand. It's a nice blend of free skate and single session. Once you've met the target, you must find an exit to end your
security.
run. Exits can also be used to end your run before the timer runs out. If you wish to register your target score, try again, or change levels. You don't have to find the exit during competition levels, which I'll talk about in the next part of this video. There are also high scores for you to beat if you wish to do so. You also have a health meter, which can deplete with damage received from bales, or things like toxic sludge or passing vehicles. Running out of health ends your run. A mechanic Z-axis.
Whoa! See, like, I didn't play either of these.
Sludge or passing vehicles. Running out of health ends your run. A mechanic Z-axis would revisit in later games. You can also view a replay of your previous run and adjust the camera angle.
Damn, I don't remember that.
Skate and Destroy's main aim is to reach the level's score target and make it to the exit before you're chased by police, muggers, or guard dogs, who appear at the end of your timed run. When you're chased, the camera shifts to the perspective of the chaser, which is very similar to how the camera pans out when you're chased by security in Skate 1 and 2. You can either lose them and the run ends, or get busted or caught, which also ends your run.
Just like real life, yeah.
If you outrun a cop
and there was a dog.
they suffer a heart attack. I didn't experience this myself, but it's a wild detail that I read. Visually, the game leaves a lot to be desired, and other games at the time like Pro Skater look much better, even though they were on the same console. It wasn't a deal breaker for me, of course, as the rewarding gameplay more than made up for it. Many of the game's levels are based on real-world locations, and while I appreciated the effort to include them, the level quality overall is hit and miss. Thanks for still being here with me. The channel recently reached 3,000 subscribers, so thanks so much for your support and helping me get to this milestone. If you wish to see more retrospectives like this one, as well as gaming video essays, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos.
It's a good quality video.
Let's take a look at Skate and Destroy's level design. Skate and Destroy offers 12 levels of open and interactive terrain across 4 districts.
It's literally so hard to just do a 50-50.
A single level.
You had to really balance it as well, I remember.
A tutorial level of sorts with a low target score. You then head to New York, LA, and San Francisco, each with 3 levels. The third level in these districts is a competition level free of chasers, with only a score target to beat and no exit required, even though they're available to use. The final district, International, takes you to London and Germany, the latter hosting the final competition that earns you Pro Skater status if you win. Completing each district unlocks a short skate compilation.
Like, how sick would it have been to have your clips in this thing? Someone just goes, hey, we need a couple clips. You go, yeah, whatever. But then they're like permanently cemented in this like such low memory disc, like the videos that was cemented in the ever. That's so cool.
Completing each district unlocks a short skate compilation
slide handrail.
with the last one being longer and a very satisfying finale. If you manage to complete the game on expert difficulty, you'll land on the cover of Thrasher magazine. I didn't go for this in my playthrough, but it's something I'd like to attempt down the track. Real-world skating spots like New York's Brooklyn Banks, LA's Venice Beach Pavilion, and San Francisco's China Banks all feature as their own levels, which adds to Skate and Destroy's authenticity. There's a nice mix of rails, benches, and ramps
and Embarcadero,
giving each map plenty of opportunities for creative lines. Levels like Brooklyn Banks and Subway, also in New York, were standouts for me. They flowed nicely, had great layout variety, and they just felt good to skate in. On the other hand, LA River was easily the weakest. Once you drop into the ditch, getting back up is a chore, especially with the toxic sludge hazard that I mentioned earlier. Also, evading the cops there is frustrating, and the level lacks flow entirely. It was a slog to beat, but it was satisfying once I did. Overall...
Oh yeah, I forgot in the game, I think you progress and you unlock new merch as well. That is Owl River, yes. I remember the toxic sludge. I think you progress and you unlock like microtransaction-y type merch. I think I remember unlocking
overall,
the hoodies
the level
and
design
stuff.
is a mixed bag. Mostly average, with a few highlights. What made them stand out more though, is the music assigned to each one. Featuring iconic old-school hip-hop artists, the soundtrack adds a ton of personality and really helps capture the feeling of late 90s skate culture.
Flow state.
One of Skate and Destroy's strongest elements is its soundtrack, a mostly old-school hip-hop lineup that gives each level its own personality, and perfectly captures the era's vibe. Standouts for me include Rapper's Delight by Sugar Hill Gang, King of Rock by Run DMC, which also plays in the main menu, and Rebel Without a Pause by Public Enemy, the latter also appearing in GTA San Andreas. Freestyle Noise by Freestylers plays in the Germany competition, leaning more electronic but still grounded in hip-hop influences. And like other Z-Axis games, you can change the tracks in the level's options menu, or turn them off entirely. Despite being a small playlist, I really enjoyed listening to it, with many of the songs I already knew and some that I discovered for the first time, and they all fit the game's raw energy perfectly. Outside the game's main skate mode, there's also a multiplayer.
Like, who is this guy? Who is this man? I remember this menu, and like, what board? Oh, he's got an anti-hero board.
But as I only had one controller connected, I wasn't able to access that section. However, multiplayer modes include Sessions, Nickelbag, and Horse, among others.
Horse?
With many of them being
What?
rebranded versions of those in Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX, another Z-Axis game that I've covered on the channel previously. You can adjust game options like camera angle, difficulty, and vibration, as well as adjust audio, view high scores, adjust your controls, change language, and view the game's credits. While Skate and Destroy would ultimately be overshadowed by Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, it laid the groundwork for skateboarding simulation, a concept that wouldn't truly resurface until years later.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of ahead of its time. I feel like it was almost too niche. It was kind of, yeah, it was kind of like Power Wash Simulator, Skateboard Simulator, you know? Whereas Tony Hawk's more like, come in this world and play this fun thing. Whereas this was more like Power Wash Simulator, take it or leave it.
Despite its rough edges, Thrasher Presents Skate and Destroy was a bold attempt to capture the feeling of skateboarding before the technology, and maybe even the audience, was ready for it. Its simulation-style controls, grounded physics, and unfiltered depiction of skate culture were years ahead of what most players expected at the turn of the millennium. When compared to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, it's easy to see why Skate and Destroy was overshadowed, as the game demanded a lot from the player, like patience, precision, and time to master, while Tony Hawk was instant fun. But in
Much more
hindsight,
playable.
Skate and Destroy laid the groundwork for an entirely different branch of skateboarding games, one focused on realism and flow. The DNA of what Z-Axis built here can be felt years later in EA's Skate series, which redefined what a skate sim could be through its revolutionary analog stick control and grounded setting. And more recently, games like Session and Skater XL have pushed that philosophy even further, embracing the learning curve and celebrating the raw authenticity that Skate and Destroy hinted at decades earlier. It may not have sold millions of copies or become a household name, but Thrasher Presents Skate and Destroy deserves recognition as one of the earliest games to truly respect skateboarding as an expressive, technical craft. Its influence rippled quietly but unmistakably through the games that followed decades later.
I wonder if when it was released, it was determined to be like a success or not. Because like they never had a 2 or 3 or whatever, you know? But I wonder like what was their goal when they released it and if it hit it or if it come up short or
Thanks
what,
for
you know?
watching. What are your memories of this game? Did you take time to learn the mechanics or drop it early on? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on upcoming content. And while I'm not able to buy Thrasher Presents Skate and Destroy for PC, as it was a PlayStation exclusive, I can still buy other PC games from Fanatical. They offer officially licensed Steam keys, often with serious discounts. So if you're planning to grab your next PC game or bundle, consider using my affiliate link in the description. It doesn't cost anything extra, but it directly supports the channel so I can keep making videos like this. Thanks for your support. Also, thank you to my current channel members for supporting me further. There are links to this and my Ko-fi donation page in the video description. My name is One.
Let's go. Shout out to Onehipgamer. That was a really good video. Keep up the good work. I think if you just keep making good videos like this, your channel will pop off. Like that did good for a 4K channel, 13K views, and some of these 50K. Let's go. But yeah, it seems like bro is more focused on like gaming and just like a little touch of skating. Man, this could be interesting though. Dave Mirra, I kind of want to learn about. Skate early access impressions. What's his rollerblading game and BMXXX? Oh my, BMXXX with like sexualized model. Like what the heck? But yeah, that was cool.